Internets, hello you lovelies and welcome. With next week likely bringing our giant James Gunn DC announcement and potential full slate. We'll see how much of a slate we get. I wanted to take this time to break down my hopes and predictions of what that announcement could look like. Now, I am trying to grow this channel out, so if you like this kind of content, I talk about movies, I talk about comic books, hit subscribe, share it with your friends, comment, like, all the YouTube-y stuff, but let's immediately get right into it. I do think this is coming next week, likely early next week, maybe as soon as Monday or Tuesday. It is the last full week of the month of January. As of filming this, as of airing this, it is the 19th of January, so I'd expect the announcement to come likely about the 23rd. He could drop it maybe the last 30th, 31st of January, but I do see it coming early next week. Give all of the time to get all the press out there, but what I find most interesting is this is the first of its kind. I've said before, we've never seen a shared universe end. We've never had anything that was already in motion stop. There was the Dark Monster universe from Universal. That ended before it really got started. We only had the actors cast and that really dramatic photo that was sad to see go. We've had the Fox universe have some properties in motion, like John Hamm as Mr. Sinister, like, obviously Gambit as Channing Tatum, James Franco as Jamie Madrox, but we got a ton of movies out of that before it was canceled. Those movies didn't happen, but the universe itself kept churning. It did end very unceremoniously following Dark Phoenix with that limping out New Mutants release, which I enjoyed New Mutants more than most, but that's the closest we've really had to a universe end, and that was because it was then consumed by Disney, and Disney's still able to use a lot of those pieces. We are still getting Hugh Jackman in the Deadpool movie, so this is the first of its kind end of a shared universe. We've never had this. We don't know what this looks like. And then on top of that, we've never had an announcement quite like this. In 2008, when the Marvel Cinematic Universe started, the slate was what next couple movies are coming out, but it was unprecedented. We didn't know we'd get to Avengers. Now, shared universes are much more common. Now, DC has been doing what DC's been doing for long enough they have to end that or at least adjust it. Now, what DC has done that I've really enjoyed is their films feel like they can exist simultaneously, but that they can also exist in a shared universe. Shazam feels like it could be in the world, but also doesn't have to be. So I'm really curious going forward if that's going to be the take. Is Shazam going to survive? With it opening in China as of last week, that could change the box office it makes. That could change its chances for Shazam 3. Also, Zach Levi being friends with James Gunn and Peter Safran. Very intrigued by the Shazam of it all going forward. But the 7 things I'm hoping we get out of this announcement with James Gunn this coming week are, number 1, I do hope we get a Superman clarification. Now, we know James Gunn is writing a Superman script. We know Henry Cavill is not involved. But what I mean by clarification is the tone, the release, the impact, like any actual concrete detail. I don't think we'll get cast announcements because it doesn't sound like the script is fully done, but with James Gunn showing so much Superman on his social media, with him sharing the Grant Morrison take, I'd love to get a synopsis. I'd love to get anything that gives us that sense of tone. I think the Batmanification of Superman has been very dangerous for Superman, whether it's the DC animated series, whether it's the Zack Snyder take, whether it's a lot of the comic book takes. Superman is hope. Superman is the best of us. Superman doesn't kill. Superman isn't cynical. I had someone argue with me on a comment when I was saying that the DCAU Superman, the Justice League War that I watched recently, wasn't how I interpreted Superman, and it's an interpretation. This is an archetypal character, and they got very upset that Batman could be a dick and Superman couldn't, but that's kind of the point. Superman is aspirational. Batman is a cautionary tale. Batman is a tragedy. Superman is what we could hope to be. Superman is what you do when you are making good decisions. Superman's biggest villain is that he can't be everywhere. Superman hears and sees all, but he can't be everywhere. I want that Superman captured. And that's tricky with tone. I'd love to hear how James Gunn plans to tackle that. I'd love to hear what a 78 take like Christopher Reeve's Superman would even look like today. That you can't make that Superman today, but I also don't think you should make a dark and gritty Superman today. So what is the Superman of 2025? What does that even look like? I'd love for that to be the number 1 goal of this announcement. What is today's Superman? Not who, but what is that character in today? Coming in at number 2, we got the big 3, and number 2, we got to talk about Batman. Batman is a foundationally important character for DC. Batman is some 60% of all of DC Comics output right now. Batman is your breadwinner and your bread handler. He's got $1 billion. Batman is everything. So what do we do with Batman when there's already the Batman? I want personally to see the Batman carry on as long as Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson want to. I want the Colin Farrell Penguin show, which I think is starting to shoot in 2 weeks. I want that universe to stay separate personally. The thing that made the Batman work is that I couldn't see Superman landing in Gotham. I couldn't see Green Lantern appearing in that world. I want the as-contained, where the psychology of the villains is the supernatural element, Batman possible. And I think that needs to stay over there. I think what we need to have with this new announcement is an announcement of a Batman for the Justice League. A new separate Batman that fits alongside whoever their Superman is. That dynamic duo is integral, and that should be a separate thing in my opinion. So a conversation of how that works with Matt Reeves' Batman, I'd love to hear, and the plans for Matt Reeves' Batman going forward. I'd love if they did a DC Black Label. Comic books, there's an R-rated Black Label where those comics are completely separate, and that's where your Joker could live, your Todd Phillips Joker. That's where your Matt Reeves' Batman could live. Hell, that's an opportunity to finally make an R-rated Batman if they so chose, but keep it in a separate Black Label. Have your experimental filmmakers come in there. You should have had Guillermo del Toro make that Justice League dark, make it over there, but that's another conversation. Number 3, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has to be solved. It doesn't sound like Patty Jenkins is coming back. I don't know if that means Gal is coming back. I don't know what any of this looks like. That's another point to come later. But you, I think, need to make Wonder Woman a part of your initial launch. In the past, Marvel and DC were both very, very dude-heavy with their teams. Avengers was 6 members, 5 were dudes, 1 woman. Justice League was 7 members, unite the 7, 6 dudes, 1 woman. I would love to see a more balanced female-male situation going forward at a newly launched universe. So at minimum, you need to launch with one of your figureheads. Like, it's the big 3, and she's got to be there. So I think Wonder Woman is absolutely essential. I'd love to hear how they're going to attack that, what kind of tone. Again, kind of like the Superman announcement, just kind of an idea of what's going to be coming from Wonder Woman is my number 3. Number 4, Green Lantern. Okay, so Green Lantern is so important to the DC mythos. Green Lantern is such a fascinating character, and most of all, Green Lantern is wicked cinematic. I understand that the Green Lantern movie did not work out for them, and that was a clusterfuck of reasons, and Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern is one of those sore spots in the modern superhero era. But that was a long time ago now, and we need to go forward, and we need to figure out what space cops look like in this universe. Now, there was a show going at HBO that Greg Berlanti was producing, but as recently as the last week of October, so only 2 months ago, just November and December ago, the head writer and showrunner left quietly. I didn't hear about this until I just looked it up to talk to you guys about it. Hollywood Reporter ran an exclusive. That writer left. The story had been an Adam Scott-centric story, and it was Finn Wittrock and another dude that slips my mind as Alan Scott, and I think it was Guy Gardner was Finn Wittrock. And then they apparently were pivoting over to a Jon Stewart-centric storyline. Now, that, I think, is a good move. I think Jon Stewart is a favorite. I think he's incredible on the show. I think he's incredible in the comic books. The animated series would be a great framework to make this happen. But with the showrunner and writer leaving, with those 8 episodes completed, the entire series was written, and those 2 actors attached to the old version of the Focus, does that even exist anymore? Does that go forward? Is that show going to be any part of this at all? Or do we get an announcement of a Green Lantern movie or an all-new Green Lantern show? Still love the idea of Jon Stewart. Still love the idea of sharing a movie and TV universe. Still love all of those things. I just want to know what it is, and I want Green Lantern to get his due and her due. It's a whole core of Green Lanterns. The sun just came out. My lighting has changed dramatically. I now look maniacal. Pardon that for number 5, 6, and 7. Number 5. I mentioned earlier that they were historically dude-heavy in the shared universes and the team sets in superheroes. I want Zatanna. I really want Zatanna. I think she could lead to a Justice League Dark. I think magic is fascinating. I think I'd love to see any number of actresses play Zatanna. We can do a casting video if that's something you guys want to see. Leave a comment below. I've got a whole bunch of casting ideas for DC, but I think Zatanna is essential. And if not Zatanna, Black Canary. I would love if Black Canary introduced Green Arrow. I would love if it was a female-led badass biker movie. I would love to see Black Canary as the singer I'd even love to see Smollett continue playing her I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if they're getting rid of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I don't know how much of a reboot this is. I don't know how much of a hard reset this is. But I do want Black Canary, and I really want Zatanna in the DC universe. I think Zatanna is well overdue, and I think Black Canary is a fantastic character that deserves her time in the sun. And I'd love to see Green Arrow cinematically, so introducing him through her movie would be fantastic. Number 6. The number 6 thing I think they need to do is address the 4-film slate elephant in the room. I think the elephant has been very loud. I think the elephant is everything on Twitter. I think James Gunn is single-handedly trying to fight and kill the elephant via tweets, and we have to address publicly what is this slate? How does it affect things? I don't think it's fair to these 4 films to not go to see them because they don't start a new universe. When I watch a movie, I watch a movie. I love when a shared universe works. It rarely does. And I love when Easter eggs set other things up. But that's not why I watch these movies. In fact, often the thing I don't like about these movies is the moments they try so hard to share in other things. For example, there are moments in Eternals, I'm one of the people that likes Eternals, where it felt really shoehorned to mention Thor and to mention these other characters when they could have just had this incredible Eternals movie. There are times in movies that a shared universe is a weakness. I'm excited to see Flash for Flash. That's going to be an interesting press tour. I'm excited to see Shazam 2 for Shazam 2. I'm excited to see Aquaman 2 for Aquaman 2. And I'm excited for Blue Beetle to maybe start this universe. I'm excited to see Strollo killing it as Blue Beetle. But I'm watching those movies for those movies. I'm not watching them to see what they go to next. It's not 2027's problem what these movies are. I want to see these movies and celebrate them and the artists that made them and the talented teams behind them. I'm very excited for those movies, but I think for everyone, we need to know what they plan to do to end the universe to start a new one. Because again, this has never happened before. So I'm seeing them no matter what, but I think a lot of people are choosing to like, oh, it doesn't go anywhere, I'm not going to watch them. And I think that'll hurt them financially, and I think that'll hurt these characters. If you want to support DC, not going to see movies isn't going to help. So it's an odd choice that people are like, I'm going to boycott those movies. DC, I'm like, that you're hurting DC. So I want to know how they're going to address that. And number 7, my DC Black Label idea, I would love a Justice League Dark announcement. I would love for it to spin off from Constantine, because apparently Keanu Reeves is coming back to Constantine. I would love to hear Guillermo del Toro is finally getting his Justice League. I would love to hear that, again, Zatanna. These are all characters, and it's so specifically James Gunn. These are all characters that are so specifically him, I could easily see it. Detective Chimp is the most James Gunn character ever. He loves his animals, he loves them talking, he loves making us love them. He's such a cantankerous, lovable creature. I would love to see James Gunn handle that. So maybe him producing, Guillermo directing, would love to see what that looked like. Give me Detective Chimp, Constantine, Zatanna. That's my pipe dream. I'd love that announcement that they're going to build to a dark universe. And again, DC Black is right there in the comics. Make it part of your movies. That's my big pipe dream 7 goal, is that movie actually going forward. Now, as a bonus, if we hear anything about the following, I'm going to lose my mind. I want a Mr. Miracle Big Barda rom-com. I would love to hear anything about Scott Free. I want Plastic Man, the longest in development project that's never come to fruition, maybe in DC ever. Plastic Man is ripe for the picking for cinema. And 3, I would love if we find out that Blue Beetle is going forward in this universe and we get a Blue Beetle Booster Gold buddy cop situation. I would love if they can come out, keep that movie moving. We will see. Those are my 3 pipe dream goals. We'll see what happens. What do you want to see from this James Gunn announcement? What do you want to see DC do going forward? What would you love to hear as how this is done? How do you want to see this presented? As a fandom? As a series of tweets? As a press conference? In a video? Do you want just a little tease of graphics and then they reveal it at Comic-Con? How do you want this rolled out? Please do like, subscribe. Let me know if you want more like this. If you want that casting video, let me know. I'm trying to grow this to 20K by St. Patty's Day is the goal. We're at 16.5. Let's grow this page. So much love to you, lovelies, and sorry about any of the messy camera work. I've got a microphone, and my lovely cat kept playing with it. Right, Spidey? My boy. All right. Be good. Be well. Much love. I'll see you soon.